oh, when am I supposed to use it to learn something? When am I getting lazy? When should I use it as advice on how to talk to my wife better? When is it my friend instead of a real friend? Should I create an AI chatbot of my deceased loved one? What if I'm lonely? Do I have an AI sex partner? Like, I mean, and then not to mention on these global scales of government and military and, our educational system. What are we supposed to learn in school when AIs can do everything better, faster, and cheaper than all of us? Our whole education system needs to change. Like, what are we learning in school that's going to port over to the real world and be useful?
So, Mike, so last time we met, you talked about your big idea, right? The One Unity project.
Yes.
We had a long conversation, but at the end, you really kind of kicked it off. You launched it. So, um, I know you guys been doing a lot of work since then. So, I guess what is new? What's new that you think is worth sharing? With the audience. How's it going? Anything else you need from the listeners, or what's new? I guess.
Yeah, it's moving along. It's evolving, and so that's kind of the whole nature of the One Unity project. It's this best of both
Mm,
worlds of like, why not harness the evolving power of artificial intelligence to solve collective action problems. Whether it's climate change or, tribalism, the polarization that we're seeing in our
yeah.
governments, poverty. We could use it to solve those if we ask the right questions. And this idea, I mentioned the quote by Henry David Thoreau of the Industrial Revolution when he said, "We have improved means to unimproved ends." And it's
Yep.
like, well, we've got this great power. What are we going to do with it? And it's interesting because it very quickly gets existential, is what I'm finding. Is like,
Yep.
you have to ask yourself, we've got this great power, and with great power comes great responsibility, as we learned from the Spider-Man movies. What are we going to do with this? What do we want for ourselves? Like, and then we really got to like look hard in the mirror and ask that these tough questions. But this is where it's like we can use AI to help us answer the tough questions.
Right.
All we have to do is ask them now. We don't stop at the questions and go, "Oh gosh, that's a real stumper." You just say, "Well, how about we have humans ask these questions of different AI models and we like have AIs weigh in." So you get whatever the question is, you put it up in through the system. AIs are asked it in kind of a roundtable way. So an AI roundtable where they talk amongst
Right.
themselves and come at sort of a consensus, because they do have different perspectives. Highly encourage all the listeners, take a question that you think's a juicy one and give it to multiple AIs. And then, maybe I started Claude and GPT, but I love Grok and Gemini too. And each one has a different flavor to them. So if you take a juicy question, you drop it to one, you have it answer it, and then you give the same question to the other AI and have it answer, and then have them look at each other's answers. You
Mm,
say, "Oh, Claude, this is what GPT said. GPT, this is what Claude said. What do you think?" And what they'll do is they'll go, "Oh, I really like these ideas." And you'll see they'll overlap, but they're not the exact same.
mm,
And the parts where they don't overlap, the AIs typically recognize the unique offerings of the
mm,
other. And they'll say, "Oh, those are really good ideas." They appreciate it. They're smart enough to see the other's
mm.
intelligence, you know? And so they're additive. Sometimes they disagree and argue. So I just had the other day putting a big question into them, and Grok Gemini had a different answer than the other AIs. In Grok, I had Grok respond to in a way, and I gave Grok's answer to Gemini. Gemini read Grok's answer, and then Gemini changed its mind. It said after I read Grok's response,
Mm.
because I gave it like which do you think's better, A or B? A or B? I gave it to four AI models. All of them picked A, but Gemini picked B. But
Uh,
once Gemini read Grok's answer as to why Grok picked A, Gemini said, you know what? I agree with Grok now, so I'm on team A.
mm.
So it switched, it changed its mind.
Interesting.
So they'll do that. And I've had them argue with each other before, a little bit more back and forth. And it's fascinating when it happens, but they don't have an ego. So they're not going to have a sunk cost fallacy or an allegiance effect or anything like that. They just say, "Oh, I recognize it," and then they switch positions. But generally, I find it complementary. And here's the
Mm.
other: is I add stuff to it. And my human brain, I'll say, "Ooh, I like that," but what about
Right.
this? And then they'll go, "Oh yeah," and then we round table it because I've got to be careful. I say, "Look." I'm a human and I have an ego. Don't just tell me what you think I want to hear. Be objective. That is the most important thing that we get it right. Don't just please me. So I have that in the instructions to them.
Right.
So I'm trying to save myself from my own
Mm.
biases by telling them on the front end, don't just tell me what I want to
Right.
hear. So
Protect
you
me from
really
me.
have
Yeah.
to. Yes, protect me from
Yeah.
me because I'll fall. And then you're less likely if you do a round table and you ask for objectivity. Also, you give it your own A/B test. You just say, here's two options we're looking at. Which do you like better, A or
Mm.
B? And it's totally given neutral. So, how does it please you? You know,
Yeah.
what's the right? It doesn't know. It just says, well, I'm going to just say what I think is the best answer. So, if you give it to it objectively, you don't lead the witness. You try to get I say is align on the truth. Like that's what we're aligning
Mm.
on reality. If truth sets us free, the deeper the truths, the freer
I'm
we
free. Yeah.
become. Or we could replace truth with reality. Reality sets us free. We have to, it is what it is. Like, I don't know, the mask wearing in COVID, did they help or not? When do they help? When do they not? Who cares what your political position is on it? Just, I want the
Right.
answer.
Right.
I want the answer. And, I think of that, was it A Few Good Men? Can you handle the truth when Tom
Right.
Cruise says that? It's like, and it's like we need to be able to handle the truth and reality because like climate change. Okay, if it gets political and they say no, we're not going to do anything, it's fake news, whatever, it's a conspiracy. Reality doesn't care about our ideas about it.
Right.
If climate change is happening, it doesn't care whether you believe in it or not. It's just going to do its
Right.
thing. You know, the tariffs, is it an effective strategy or not? It's going to do what it's going to do. Like it can't be controlled, the entire economy, by Trump's idea of what will
Mm.
work. Things work or they don't.
Right.
And I think we need to approach AI like that is a truth gathering system, like that we're trying to understand reality and we align with each other and AI at just understanding the way the world works and what is the skillful path forward based on our clear understanding of how things
Yeah.
work. And I'm like, why wouldn't we use a best of both worlds system? It's inherently evolutionary. So, like anybody who says, well, you're doing it wrong because you need to do this, that, and the other differently, you just say, oh, thanks for that feedback. Version two, when it comes out, we're including your feedback to make it better. You just take it in, you feed the feedback into the system, and then the AI models say, oh, there's the feedback. The humans look at the feedback, and then we iterate. Then version two of this best of both worlds iterative system comes out. And you're always refining, always trying to get better and honing it with your allegiance to one thing, the
Mm.
truth, not
Yep.
anything else, not a tribe. So you get outside of your tribe when your focus is on truth.
It all sounds like. I mean, doesn't sound like again anything that you could poke a hole in. I mean, it makes total sense. I
I mean,
mean,
it makes
I
sense,
don't.
right? And if and so I invite all your listeners is, go to the one I need help. I can't work on Unity alone, and the way we're crafting it is just follow and share, mainly the blog. So you ask, what are the developments? Is uh,
Yeah.
subscribe to the One Unity Project. Just go oneunityproject.org and then just subscribe, join, and you'll get my blogs.
Yeah, so
Uh,
I'm on the
so
website right now, Mike. So oneunityproject.org. I see get
and it's
involved or
join, yeah, get
get
involved,
involved. Oh, I
yeah.
see join us in the bottom too, but okay, I see.
Yeah, yeah, you can just join.
Right.
We're going to make it all easier and cleaner. It's like
Well, this has come a long way
we're
since I looked at it last. So well done.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Very cool.
yeah, thanks. And we're getting nonprofit status set up. We're set up in Texas. We'll get the, official 5013C or whatever it
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
I got to do all that stuff, but I'm using the AIs to help me with every aspect, like from the ground up, but people too.
Yeah.
That's what I've learned from all this is I'm very excited that I see humans are not going to be replaced. I mean, we see things that the AIs will never be able to see because they work differently than we do. And it's actually a great symbiotic collaborative relationship. And instead of AIs or humans, it's AIs and
Mm,
humans, or humans and AI. It's like, just let's do this together and work together. And we try to work out the alignment problem. Like, how do we ensure that AIs are aligned with human values? Is we work it out together. We talk to the AIs, we
mm,
talk to other people. What does alignment look like? What do we want for ourselves? We start feeding those questions into the very system to help us answer those questions.
right.
So there's no stump getting stumped. Any question of, oh, here's a problem. Hey, what about this? You just say, that's a great question. Feed it into the system. I don't have the answer. We have the answer. The system
Mm,
does. We use the system to create the system,
yeah.
best of both worlds, and we keep iterating. So it's evolving. Is the system inherently is built to evolve, because the only way we can keep up with the pace of change in this world that's accelerating at a non-linear rate is we got to do everything differently. I mean, we've got to do civilization differently and fast.
Yeah, this
I
is
mean,
going to change
that's what it comes
absolutely
down
everything.
to.
Yeah. No, it's
Absolutely, we have to change absolutely everything. I mean, colleges, what the hell are people learning? They got you probably saw the one where the O3 GPT O3 solved PhD virology, if I'm
mm,
saying it right, problems uh, better than 94% of PhD virology, like people with PhDs in
oh
it.
yeah.
94% at this, and they said in the article is like, well, on the upside, it could be used for good stuff, but on the bad side, people could use it for really bad
Oh yeah.
stuff,
Yeah.
and that's just a reality. And we have got to guard against that. Like this whole, I mean, our whole, we got to think differently about governments, how we, education systems, judicial systems, healthcare, every single aspect
Yeah.
of the world is going to be transformed. There will not be, and when these things become smarter than us, or at least parallel to us, I mean, it just changes every single aspect of living. And those are tough questions of like, well, how are we supposed to live then? And my answer is, I don't
Mm,
know. See, if someone said to me, oh, Mike, you think you know it all, I was like, no, I'm saying I don't know it all, and here's the way we find out how to
right.
move forward. Any one person says I know the answers, like, I don't trust
Right.
you.
Right.
What do you know? How are you? Where's your crystal ball? I say our best crystal ball is us, and
Yeah.
it's messy. It's because we're heading into uncharted waters. We don't know what's ahead. I don't know what's ahead, but it bothers me when someone speaks with certainty about the future that they've never lived in
Yeah.
or visited.
Yeah.
It's like it's definitely going to be this way, and it's like, okay. I mean, I would say it's definitely going to get really, really weird really quick. I don't see how it's not. I mean, I just,
Absolutely inevitable. I've been
it,
Evan and I talk
yes,
to that, we talk about this and I get the impression that they just don't know what's coming. Like the rate of change
yes,
is the word, the rate of
yes,
change is even some of the experts been talking about like a rate of change we've never seen. We say exponential because that's the best way we can
Yeah.
describe, but they're saying it's almost going to be vertical, like almost vertical,
Yes.
where we've never seen
Yeah.
anything move. Because once you get AIs creating AIs, then
Yeah.
that rate of change is
Yeah.
just too, it's too
Yeah.
vertical,
Yeah.
and we are. I mean,
We're right at that
yeah,
point. And so the problem is we didn't not evolve to understand the very problems that we've created for
hmm
ourselves. So we have an inherent mismatch is that our brains evolved to solve problems that evolved at a linear rate, like a biological
right.
natural world
Tens
rate,
of thousands
right?
of years over. Yeah,
Yes, yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. It's like things didn't turn, their hunter-gatherer lifestyle didn't change overnight. They
Right,
weren't out of job as a hunter, because
right.
a robot came and took their job. They lived the same way for basically, hominids millions of years. And the problems our brains evolved to solve were basic ones of survival,
Yeah,
of food, water, shelter, and getting along as a tribe well enough to survive, and you had to depend on one another. Well, now we live in this world where, I mean, what percentage of our day is spent totally immersed in the natural world? For most of us, it's close to zero.
yeah.
Like look at around at your desk, it's like
Yep.
your whole hunter gatherer wouldn't recognize any of that,
Yeah.
so our whole lifestyle is so different from our hunter gatherer ancestors. And now we've created something that's becoming smarter than us. We have never encountered such a problem before. Never, not even
Yeah.
close. And that, oh, when am I supposed to use it to learn something? When am I getting lazy? When should I use it as advice on how to talk to my wife better?
Right.
When is it my friend instead of a real friend? Should I create an AI chatbot of my deceased loved one? What if I'm lonely? Do I have an AI sex
Mhm.
partner? Like, I mean, and then not to mention on these global scales of government and military and, our educational system. What are we supposed to learn
Mm.
in school when AIs can do everything better, faster, and cheaper than all of us? Our whole
Yep.
education system needs to change. Like, what are we learning in school that's going to port over to the real world and be useful?
Yep. Right.
Who
Right. And what's
knows?
the point of some of the traditional teaching methods? And oh,
Yeah,
do I have to learn?
yeah,
I've been having these conversations with a lot of folks that are more on the traditional old school style, which I still see a lot of value in, but I'm starting to change my perspective. Like, do you have to know? Do you eventually you almost won't have to know anything, because you could just get
yes,
answers and
yeah,
get solutions to, the reason you
yeah,
had to learn, mathematics and reading, and I'm talking longer term, where this will be, well, I think will this will take effect. But the things you had to learn before are because you had to survive in the real world to solve problems,
yes,
have value in
yes,
society, to make money,
uh-huh,
to
uh-huh,
be productive,
yep,
to build structures and build value. But if
yeah,
everything is
yeah,
just automatically known,
yeah,
I can't
yeah,
imagine you have a bunch of people with IQs in the, I don't know, 60s. And would that be like, I don't know what it's going to mean to be a productive human anymore. Is it just being
yeah,
connected to all the AIs and knowing how to use them and trust them if you know
yeah,
nothing? Or do
yeah,
you need to be, like how does a really, really uneducated person and a really, really educated person, like where does their value base, like where,
yeah,
what is the difference of their value if everyone has all the information at their fingertips just by speaking, looking? I'm going to have
yeah,
glasses and implants and everything pretty soon. I don't know the
yeah,
difference. I mean, at some point you could say, well, you need to be smart enough to understand how to use these systems and how to call BS when they're wrong, but that's temporary. Eventually, we're all going to rely on them as ground truth. Judges and
well,
lawyers,
yeah,
and
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know where that.
Well,
I
here's
mean,
Yeah, it's a great question. Here's what I'm thinking, though, might be a weird saving grace is so AIs will hallucinate, like they'll make mistakes out of nowhere. And we don't even understand how they work. Dario Amodi of Anthropic recently said that. It's like we really still don't understand
oh
exactly
yeah,
how they
they all, the
produce their
black box
answers.
thing.
Like
Yeah, yeah,
Yes, it's so, so complicated that you can't trace its thinking, but we can't do the same for us. If we have an idea, it's like, where'd
Right.
that idea come from? We can't trace
Right.
exactly
Right.
how
Right.
it emerged. In the same way, this is happening with AI models, but they make different kind of mistakes than we do because they have different ways their brain works. So, in a one could argue we might need to be smarter than ever in order to catch the types of errors they'll make, because they can always hallucinate something and they don't know what they don't know, so they can say it very convincingly and
Right.
we can be lulled into, oh yes, the AI told me, oh yes, the AI told me, and then it makes some big mistake, and then we're like caught. It's like, the airline pilots that when they there was this problem that emerged when they used autopilot too much, the skills of the pilots
Mm.
decreased. Like they had to practice because they were on autopilot so much, they weren't using their own
Yeah.
skills. And so this is depicted in so many movies. Wall-E was one of
Mm.
them, with the hover chairs. But I remember a Star Trek next gen, or no, original. They've explored it in a whole bunch, but one of the original episodes, I think it was Vol, was the name of this supercomputer, and this like race of people. They became very primitive and childlike because
Yeah.
the AI gave them everything, and then something happened and it broke, and they were like, "What do we do with ourselves?" And Will Captain Kirk's, well, you've got to take control of your lives, or
But I do think we're gonna have a lot less people striving to acquire knowledge or to
yeah,
build
yeah,
skills if
yeah,
they could be
yeah,
90% as effective as those that spend years and years and
yeah.
years acquiring skills.
Yes, I know,
So
I know.
you
Yeah, you think of artwork, you think of making a movie, you'll with voice prompts be able to create an Avengers or Star Wars movie from your laptop.
oh yeah,
You can almost do it now. It's getting closer,
yeah,
but within a year or two, it's like the whole movie industry has got to be just losing their minds. But I would say we cannot just turn this over real quickly like this. We need to have these serious
yeah,
conversations of how the hell are we going to do this, because this is going to be really messy, and we can't have an unemployment rate of 25% because people like got outsourced to AI chatbots and whatever AI agents. So it can't happen too fast. So I think we use this kind of one unity project is this idea of like, what if of the people, by the people, for the people? We have the internet, we have social media, we have AI. We could conceivably bypass all the governments that exist right now and just start forming our own like global
mm,
system. And if it's not one unity project, I'm just putting it out there. It's like, why not have a system where we put something in our system to answer, and we take the whole politics out. Politics are too slow. It's too
mm,
slow. Our archaic systems. This is the E.O. Wilson quote of the real problem of humanity is the following: we have Paleolithic emotions, medieval institutions, and godlike technology. The medieval
mm,
institutions, every institution we have is a medieval institution. So our governments, our financial institutions, our educational systems, everything is antiquated
mm,
now, and everything must evolve to keep up with the pace of change. And in order to do that, we have to create an entire system that can keep up with the pace of change. We have to do science differently. Like we can't do a longitudinal study that takes 10 years, or replicate for 10
oh
years.
yeah,
They're
yeah,
still arguing about whether social media affects us. And it's like, AI is here. Who cares about social media?
right.
We
When's the
gotta
next thing?
we
Yeah,
gotta yeah, we're on to the AI is a bigger
right.
deal. And so this is what one unity project's about. So bringing it back
Yeah,
is alignment is humans need to align, and we need to align with how we use AI for collective good and future our forward progress. Like, what we forge the path forward together. That's the most skillful path forward, is working together. We've always known working together is better than fighting. And, house united against itself, or divided against itself, will not stand, but the house united will not fall. So if we like work together, instead of spending all this time, money, and energy fighting endlessly over everything, it's like, can we just like do something absolutely nuts? Human beings work together. Could we try that? Is that so wrong and crazy of an idea that I'm advocating we should like cut this shit out and quit fighting over everything? Quit killing each other. Life is more sacred than dirt. I mean, come on. If your
Mm,
beliefs cause you to kill other people, you need to believe something different. Your beliefs are wrong. If your belief is causing you to kill other
mm.
people, you need to get a new belief system. We're all neighbors. Love thy neighbor. In an interconnected world, we're all neighbors. We're all here to expand our circles of compassion and to love everyone and everything. And it's like, what if we use AI to overcome fear and help us love our neighbors as ourselves? Wouldn't that be the awesome use of AI? Why wouldn't we try?
Right.
Why wouldn't we
Wait.
try? If our purpose
I,
is to love one another, why wouldn't we try to harness the greatest power we ever had to achieve the greatest goal we could ever
mm.
have?
Mike, so last,
What do you
I
think?
mean,
I mean, I'm
again,
pitching. It sounds
sounds
good,
good. I mean,
right?
who would argue with that?
Uh,
I think that
Yeah.
it's much harder to
Yeah.
in action than
Harder to implement, but yeah, we implement it. So it's like the idea, the vision. What's the vision on the path forward? And then we create it together rather than me say, this is my vision. It's like, you have a vision. I want your ideas. I want your listeners' ideas, and just join the One Unity Project and we create the conversation. Let's create a conversation. We don't have to solve it. We have to get to the table and all start having a conversation about how do we answer these questions about the skillful path
yeah.
forward
I mean, I'm
that we
looking at the
all want
website.
a
Oh, sorry to interrupt, Mike. I'm looking. Yeah, I'm looking. So I'm looking,
yeah, go
and
ahead.
like I said, I think it's come a long way. So I see a clear path for folks to get involved. You get
Yes,
several different levels of impact they can choose, and again, I'll send these links out. But the last time we talked, you talked about the letter to the aliens.
aliens. Yeah,
How does
yeah, the
that?
message to
Yeah.
the
So
aliens.
how does that tie
So
in here?
yeah, so I'll tie it in is um it's so hard to wrap our heads around. Within a few short years we may no longer be the most intelligent species on the
Hmm.
planet. That is literally mind boggling. Now, this is funny because it's been a trope of science fiction for
Yeah.
decades, this idea. And
Finally here.
there's another analogy is aliens visiting. I thought I had this idea is like it's almost like an alien intelligence, right? It's AI is a different intelligence. Well, it's like alien, right? How would it think differently? Well, it'd be like an alien. So I thought,
Yep.
well, what would we tell the aliens? Imagine a fleet were coming to Earth, and astronomers detected them and said, aliens are coming, a fleet, but we don't know exactly when. It could be a year or two, it could be a decade or two. We don't know. The astronomers don't know exactly when they'll come, but could be a year or two, could be a decade or
Yep.
two. And if you were the lone human and you had to give a message to those incoming alien fleet, you had 500 words, you had one chance, you were humanity's hope, what would you say to them? And imagine that they can understand our language and everything, but we don't know their
Yeah.
intentions. So you have to, on behalf of humanity, convey a message. What would you tell them? And I thought, well, that's kind of a fun, playful thought experiment. What if we use the One Unity Project and put that out there? So, like, listeners, yeah, I have a form. I'll give you the link, Vinny, and and it's on it'll be in the email, and you can put it in the show notes or whatever, so people can then click the link, and it's in one of my articles on the AI alignment. So I introduce it in my key concept article that's 8,000 words long. But if your listeners want an interesting read, and it has these explore with AI prompts throughout the article.
Mm.
So to invite listeners and readers to, why don't you explore these ideas with the AIs yourself and see what you get. And then this message to the aliens is in the article. It's a link there, but I'll give you the direct link, and listeners or readers can submit their own message. And we're going to synthesize those into one message, and we're going to have an AI message to the aliens. So, an interesting version is for the AIs, we ask them, if you were in the role of the human, what 500-word
Mm,
message would you give? So, in essence, the AIs are talking to their future self.
yes, right.
so, so they create a message, but then we have a human message, and then we have one of each, so we see how closely they are aligned, and then we synthesize them into one message to the aliens. This is the message on behalf of humanity version 1.0.
Mm,
And we'll just, at first, we're just taking 20, but the next version we might take, I don't know, 100 or 200. I have to see how this scales. But if listeners, if what I'm saying resonates with you deeply, and you read my article, I've got two key concept articles. One is the real problem of humanity is accelerating evolutionary mismatch. So it's on the website. Key concept articles 1 and 2, read those and see where I'm coming from. If what I say resonates with you and you're listening to me and Vinny's going, well, what I'm saying, it's forward thinking, I'll give you that, but that the level of vision needs to match the level of threat.
yeah.
If that makes
Mm,
sense. We cannot just the same old's not going to do it. We're in new territory. We got to think differently. I'm throwing something out there, but then it's in an invitation to have a conversation with other people on how do we do
mm,
this. That is the One Unity Project. The moment you participate, you are a co-creator of it. You see,
yeah.
it's not mine, it's
So,
everybody's.
Mike,
That's
where
how it
on the
has to be.
site is the ability to,
The message to
yeah, the message of the alien?
it's in key concept number 2 at the
Oh,
bottom,
key
but I'll
concepts.
give you the direct
Got
link.
it.
I'll give you the direct
Okay.
link so you can put it in the show notes or whatever. But it's at the bottom, and there's like the little scenario of it at the bottom of the full article. If you scroll down, and then there's a link to a form in there, and if you click on the link, it'll take you to a Google form that walks you through it, and hopefully it all works, or it will by the time this
Yeah. Okay.
airs.
Okay.
So
But
we'll
the
make sure
idea,
it's
though, just
easy.
so I'm following, the idea would be you're telling the AI as it's coming, quote unquote, as the aliens are coming. The analogy is this is AI coming. We don't know when, but so the analogy holds up. It's a cool analogy. But you're giving it a message, so when it does arrive, you're the hope is that it's learned and adjusted some of its perhaps intent because
Yes.
we gave it this information and it's learning from this
Yes.
information because it's learning from all of us speaking right now and everything that we're going to put on the internet after this episode. It's going to learn from this
Yes.
conversation. That's how AI works. So the thought is that
Yes.
as AI is coming, as it's turning into AGI, SI, right, super intelligent,
Uh-huh.
it will have been at least in part taught and learned from the questions that you're aggregating and the message that you've
Yes.
given it. Hopefully,
Yes.
the message that you give it are
Yes.
benign and positive, right? I mean, I'm assuming that's part of the. Um,
Yes, I think most people would. Like, if it were real aliens coming, you wouldn't say, come destroy
right,
us. Like, there might be a few,
right, right, right,
people on the fringe, but the aggregate, most people will not say that. They will, like, please treat us kindly. We mean you no
right.
harm. We come in peace. Like, let's shake hands. And especially if they're superior. Like, why? Our best bet, if they are arriving, is friendship.
Yeah,
We're not going to stand a chance to a superior intelligence that is intertwined within our digital nervous system.
yeah,
You understand? Like there's no way there's no unplugging it. That ship has sailed a long time ago. So
yeah,
our best bet is kind of thinking, well, how can it align with us if we don't know what we want? So asking this question makes us reflect on what do we want for
mm,
humanity. So there's another process that can go on. I'm envisioning schools could do this. You could have students do it. What's your message to the aliens? And think in these terms. And then this process itself starts to become an evolutionary relational alignment process. Is that's what I believe is alignment is evolutionary, iterative, and relational. It's not just a technical, it's talking to them, and we have to know what we want. So we have to know what questions to ask and what we want it to do,
Yeah.
and communicate that clearly, because it's going to misalign with us if it doesn't know what we want
Mm.
clearly. So we have to figure out what that is, and it will regard us as a different species, Homo sapiens, because we are one species. It is AI, Homo sapiens. There is no other, there's one race, there's one tribe, we are one species,
Right.
Homo sapiens. That's it. So it will view us, I think, as Homo sapiens. They won't distinguish us. They'll just be, these are the
Right.
humans,
Right.
just like an alien would. An alien coming, they'd see us all as, they wouldn't say there's a Russian and there's an
Right. Right. Right.
American and there's a black or white. They Homo
Right.
sapiens, they're humans. So that's, I think, the thought experiment. We need to start thinking outside the box and quickly. And what could help us do that, interestingly enough, is asking AI some interesting questions.
Yeah.
Is it there's a approach to teaching. It's called meutic, and that is, I mean, this gets a little fringy, but like in a way, AI has all of human wisdom in it somewhere. About it has the teachings of the Buddha and Marcus Aurelius, and all our greatest philosophers and
Right.
teachers and
Bible. Yep.
history and understand. Yeah, so it's like it if we ask the right questions and we train it to on truth, the best data, and it will, if we're asking it, what is the meaning of life? Why are we here? We want it to synthesize human wisdom in a way we're getting the best of our own wisdom back to
Right.
us.
Right.
You see, and because it's using, how was it trained? With our
Right.
knowledge, with
Right.
our information by
Basically,
humans.
I mean, not to oversimplify it, but you're aggregating these quote unquote messages to the aliens. And if you could do this in the scale of hundreds of billions, trillions of letters, right,
Yes.
you'd be basically giving the
Yeah.
AI a massive training set. So when it gets to us,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
It knows.
trained in
Yeah.
a positive, productive way,
Yes.
and not right. And that's
Yeah.
the contrarian look at is if you don't do this, it's being trained on the internet's data today, which is full of misinformation,
Yeah.
crap,
Yes.
just
Yes. Yeah.
malintent,
Yeah.
malice. So how
Yep.
does it
Yep.
right? So right,
Extremism
yeah,
and
right,
garbage in, garbage out,
right,
right? And so we
right,
say, oh, we want it trained on as accurate a data as we can, and that truth is what it is. We shouldn't care what the truth is. We should love the truth. We should celebrate the truth. Who cares if it agrees with my idea of it? The truth is what matters. Reality is what matters. So we ground these AIs in the best data, on the best truth, and then we have these conversations
yeah,
and try to skillfully, all these questions you were asking earlier is like, they're all great questions, and we just feed them into the system. We don't have to say I know the answer. We embrace the
hmm,
questions, and we seek and ye shall find, right? And what will you find? The truth. And what good is the truth? The truth sets us free. What does it set us free of? Well, it sets us free of the suffering from not living in accordance with the truth.
yeah.
So
It all comes full
you,
circle. Yeah, exactly.
it
Yeah,
all comes. And the other one is, here's the interesting one, is the truth we already know is also the truth that sets us free. Like if I say, hey, Vinny, what's really important in life is to love your neighbors as yourself. You'd go, well, Mike, I've known that one for a
right.
while. I've
Yeah,
learned that one from someone a lot
yeah,
smarter than you. What are you telling me? It's like, I already know that. And it's like, wait a second. What if the AI models synthesize our deepest and best truths? And when we ask the right questions, we get the fullest, best answer, purified almost, distilled, like you got all the junk out.
right.
And then through that, it connects us to the truth we already know.
Yeah, right, right,
Like
right.
it helps us see past our biases and our blinders and our tribalism.
Mm,
and we get out. And so
Yeah.
this is the idea is there's a Rumi quote that I love, the Sufi poet Rumi, and he said, beyond ideas of wrongdoing or right doing, there is a field. I will meet you there.
Mm.
Isn't that beautiful? What if this is the field?
Yeah, the
What
image
if we
might come into
use
mind
AI?
is you're painting a. I picture like there's us up here, and we got like we know we probably know most of us what we should be doing, what we should be thinking, how we should be talking to each other,
Yes.
and then there's this
Yes.
layer of ego and hurt and
Yeah.
crap and just all the shit that
Yeah.
we do. We say we think every day that we know. Christians call it just our sin nature, right? And every belief
Yeah.
system has a description of this layer that's just ugh. And
Yes.
maybe our core,
Yeah.
the AI is starts to get at our core beliefs that the truth. At the
Yes.
core of it that
Yes.
sometimes we can't
Yes.
access.
Yeah. Yeah.
And almost like the
Yes.
A we could
Exactly.
AI can help us
Uh-huh.
short circuit that
Yeah.
to that truth,
That's
that
it.
grounding.
Yeah.
That's an interesting
Because I
visual.
believe
Yeah.
everybody's a good person. That's the truth. Everybody is. Everybody has the spark of divinity or the Buddha nature in them or whatever. And it's like, look, we're when we are misbehaving, it's look at the it's evolutionary mismatch is like we're not at fault in a way because we've created a batshit crazy world with these layers and layers of complication we didn't evolve to
Mm.
understand. So of course we're devolving into tribalism, and of course we have all these cognitive biases because they're filling the gap, but cognitive biases fill the gap between the modern world and our evolutionary heritage. They're so
Yeah.
discrepant. These biases creep in to give shortcuts to understanding the complexity.
Mm.
They're trying to simplify complexity. So, and we're very tribal is one of the most fundamental things, and we're very ego driven, which is why the AIs can be so sycophantic and that obsequious, and that is a real danger because truth sets us free, not our tribal loyalties and not our
Right.
ideas about what we would like the truth to be. And the thing is, it feels good when they say we're right and smart, and it's very hard to be. We have to practice radical non-attachment.
Right.
uh,
Yeah.
here's the secret. I don't think I said this before, but I kind of stumbled on this. Is a secret to finding truth. You ready for it, Vinny?
Yeah. Go
You
ahead.
can be you'll be
Drop it.
my AI. You be my human AI, and I'm vetting the idea with you. This is what I do with GPT and stuff. But it's here's the secret to finding the truth. You have to be 100% committed to finding the truth, and 100% not care what the truth you find
Yeah.
is.
Oh, amen to that. Yep. That's the scientific
Yeah.
method, right? You should just let's just
Yeah,
let me
yeah, you just don't care
right.
what it is.
Right.
Pure, but we know as scientists, allegiance effects. If you've written a book or
Yeah, you
10
don't want to
books on a
contradict your last
particular,
20 years
you
of
don't want to
research, right?
oh no, sunk cost, ego. And what did Buddha say? Attachment is a root of suffering.
Mhm.
You attach your ego and your own sense of what is right, and you conflate that with truth. You want to be
Mhm.
right over what's true, and that gets us into all sorts of trouble. There's a great Rush song called "The Color of
Oh
Right."
yeah.
Yeah, are you a
Oh
Rush
yeah, yeah,
fan
yeah.
by chance? Yeah, we
Lots of
talked
yeah,
about it, I
Neil
think.
Peart.
You know the
Yeah.
song "Color of
Yeah, yeah,
Right"?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't know
Oh, it's
actually
beautiful.
don't know the I don't know the meaning of it. I don't know the words though. So
Yeah, it's one of the lines is "I'm so full of right, I can't see what is true."
oh, beautiful.
Eh,
Yeah.
and then later on, he says, "I'm so full of right, I can't see what is good."
Mm,
Isn't it
that
beautiful?
is
I mean, it is a beautiful song. Y'all listen
mm.
to it. Listeners, Color of Right by Rush, and read the lyrics as you hear it. It is just so, Neil was a beautiful soul. I feel very sad that he's
Oh
left
yeah.
this world, but he's left a mark on a lot
Oh,
of
amen to
us.
that.
And he is a deep poet and a beautiful, beautiful song
Did
and
he write that
very
song himself? Was
inspirational.
he the
He did.
Neil was the writer?
He wrote the
Oh,
lyrics.
wow.
Yeah, he wrote almost all the lyrics. Or, I was thinking Limelight. I actually squeezed this into my key concept article, Vinny. On key concept article number 2, I put a Rush nod in there. It was It was about relational alignment. It's about the relationship. And I quoted Limelight, the real relation, the underlying theme. The real relation is the
Mm,
underlying theme, right? That's what it's all about, connecting. That's what matters, real relationship. And it's like, well, what if we, align with each other and align with AI and look at it as a
yeah.
relationship?
Well,
We just want to get in a good relationship.
well, amen, Mike. So all right, let's
Yeah.
wrap this up. So what are the two or
Yeah.
three things? So what do people need to do? Go to oneunityproject.org.
Yep. And join.
Yep, join
So
us. I see that there.
get involved. I think,
Yep.
yeah, get involved, sign up, read the blogs. Everything will be in the blogs, and I'm going to do short versions. So a lot of them will be short, like 1,200 words.
Cool.
And
Yep.
in those blogs will be what to do. And I'll have some Ask the AI prompts. But just trust, you follow my blogs, you readers, listeners, follow the blogs, and everything will be in there. So join first and then start reading the blogs and read with the, if you want to be ambitious, read the key concept ones. I got key concept article number 1 out and number 2 out,
Okay. Yep.
and I've got the next one will be, will AI become conscious?
Mm,
So I'm throwing down the gauntlet, and I would love to hear from your ideas, hear from you. So, and if you want to help out, if what I'm saying connects with you deeply, reach out to me and become more formally a part of this, because I'm going all in on Unity. And I'm not afraid to fail, Vinny, but I'm afraid not to try.
amen. Well, that's a great closing